what was your favorite or best public performance of the history era, not including the tours? So in third position, we have the Brit Awards in London, February 96. And then in second position, we've already heard from this one tonight, with Carol, the Earth Song performance at the World Music Awards. And then in first position, MTV Awards medley with all those lovely
Slash. Hi, Paul.
Oh,
hey, Steph. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Tammy.
Hi there.
How you going?
So glad to have you here. So, so MTV medley won. Wow.
MTV.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
That's what I picked.
Yeah, more songs. More songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we're all here. Oh, thank you both for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Big Al.
Lovely to meet you.
So what an honor it is to have Big Al, former manager of Neverland Ranch, and Paul Dwyer, the author of Humanitarian, as members in our group. It's just fantastic, and just even better that you guys could join us today and just share your stories of history. Oh, let's get right into it. Yes, thank you. Do you want to kick us off, Jeanette?
Yeah, so should we ask we'll ask Paul about his week-long camp. What came first, the concert or the camp? Or was it all?
Well, Michael rocked into Melbourne. I can't even remember the date. It was about 2 or 3 days before his concert. So of course he came to the hotel, and I was there with a heap of other fans, as you've probably seen what it was like at the hotels. There was hundreds of us there. And so he rocked up and he got out of his van and just started walking around, meeting everyone, shaking hands, saying hello. And he spent hours doing that. And he, luckily for me, he come up to me and shook my hand. And the only thing that could come out of my mouth was, "I love you." And of course, he said, "I love you too." And so we slept out the front of the hotel for that week. And Michael would come down at night time after the concerts and give out roses and sign autographs and meet everybody and say hello and say how thankful he was that we were there to support him. And it was amazing. It was an amazing week.
And I hope everyone in the live chat caught that, but Paul said that he was camped out for 1 week outside of the hotel. Is that right? 1 week?
I think it was 5 days, 5 nights, something like that.
That's hardcore.
It was
cold.
I
love it. It was cold. Oh no.
But we didn't sleep. You know what? We had those big boom boxes and people were just playing his music and we were dancing and singing and just having the time of our life.
Oh.
And these were all strangers. These were people I didn't know. I was there by myself and there was no social media back then. So it was just strangers and we all met and had a good time. And I've lost contact with them. I think there's one person that was at that hotel that week that I've kept contact with. Oh. Everybody else sort of went on with their lives and I don't know where they are now. Maybe they're in the club, in the group.
Yeah,
I don't know.
In the club. So how old were you when you were doing the camping? What phase of your life were you in?
I was 17 or 18.
And had you been a fan for very long?
Yeah, I was a fan since Thriller, a long time.
Yeah. And was that the first Michael concert that you'd been able to go to? Did you?
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to go to the Bad concert, but I think I was 8 or 9 years old and too young. Yeah. No one would take me. Thanks, Mum.
Oh.
So Big Al, I got to talk to you earlier this week, but you had a different experience of getting to the concert. You actually had a little bit of VIP access. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I had a little advance notice that that concert might happen, and I have some friends that have come out to the ranch a couple times and helped me, and so I called them up and I said, if you're interested, I think I can get us tickets to this. So we ended up going, and the people I was going with, they had family over there, so it was kind of a chance for them to visit some of their family also. But yeah, we flew over. We got there a few days early. And it's kind of funny. I went to get my tickets. I had to go to the hotel where a lot of the production people and Michael were staying, and to pick up my tickets. And when I got there, they said, your name's, yeah, they're very nice. They said, your name's not on the list. I called my contact in LA and told her what happened, and she freaked out. Well, it turned out that there was 2 shows, and I was getting my tickets a day early, which the tickets I was getting, you can't get a day early. So everything's back to being calm. Just come back tomorrow. Sorry, we'll get. So I have a great interest in the technical side of a production like that. So I called Benny Collins is the production manager. I called him and said, hey, is there any chance I could come out there and just take a look at the technical side? Oh, absolutely. So I went out there. It was like mid-morning, and I spent the whole day. And I got a tour of everything underneath the stage, behind the stage. It was, for me, it was fascinating to see there's like a whole city of stuff going on, people working to make all that, all the special effects and everything happen. So,
wow.
You have a manager, and then have you ever seen a concert before that, or was that your first?
No, I'd never seen the show. The Jumbotron that they used was I grew up listening to kind of the hard rock music from the 60s and 70s, and I appreciated the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson as being extremely talented, but that really wasn't what I was listening to. But when the Jumbotron ended up coming to Neverland, I got to know all the guys on tour, and they were all about my age and listening to the same kind of music. And they kept telling me, well, if you haven't seen one of his shows, you have to go see the show. Whether you like his music or not, you have to go from a production standpoint. So when the opportunity came available, and I said, I always liked his music. It just wasn't what the people I hung out with, it wasn't what I listened to growing up. But I was just blown away at how hard he worked. I actually got to tell him that when we were both back at Neverland, I told him, I said, I had no idea he worked so hard to keep us all employed. Hours, he takes breaks every once in a while and he has a slow song and all that, but it's like playing racquetball for 2 hours up there on that stage. And I was absolutely blown away by the show.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, how close were you to the stage?
So the tickets, and I'm really upset because I had 2 items that I really wanted to show you today, and I couldn't find them. I got the day before when I went out and took the tour of the stage. Benny gave me an all-access pass. Back then they were still using the laminates, and he wrote this really cool little poetic thing on the back that had something to do with me and amusement rides and all that. And then the ticket that I got, when I picked the ticket up, it's actually like a credit card. It's a hard plastic with a hologram on it. And I just thought that's what all the tickets looked like. Well, when I got there, we went early, and we actually got in. There was nobody in the stadium except us. We were the only concert goers in the stadium when we got there. And the only reason they let us in is because I had this all access laminate. So they let us go in, and so I'm asking the guy about this ticket, and he goes, well, that's on that. There's a deck in front of the sound stage. It has about 50 chairs on it. It's the VIP deck. And I could not believe it. I mean, we were pretty stoked about that. So it was, it wasn't right up front, but we were definitely, I think Catherine was there, and I think 3T was there. There was some of the family was there. So it was quite an experience.
So did you become a bigger fan after you saw his concert?
No, I think actually by that time I was already, when I, being at the ranch, I listened to his music a lot, and started paying attention to I mean, I always liked his music because it was great for amusement rides, because almost everything he does had a nice fast beat and a lot of bass to it. And that's the kind of stuff that goes with amusement rides. So I always liked his music. And I think once I started working there and learned a little bit more about him and what all his music meant and all that, I think I became a big fan of not so much maybe Michael the entertainer, but just Michael the person, because I started to understand what he was all about and what his songs were all about.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same questions for you, Paul. How close were you to the stage, and what's your most exciting memory from being in the audience?
Wow, I was floating on cloud 9 for the whole 2 hours. I wasn't very close. And Michael did 2 shows in Melbourne, and I had bought tickets for the first show. And I didn't have tickets for the second show, but after hanging around at the hotel, I got to know Teddy Lackas, who was Michael's manager back then. And he came out and gave everybody that didn't have tickets to the second show tickets to the second show. So they were good tickets, and I got a little bit closer. But I just remember floating and being in awe and watching and just feeling numb and like I was floating on a cloud. And I was just in awe. It was amazing. Stranger in Moscow, for me, sent shivers down my spine, and all the hairs on my arms were standing up, and it was awesome. It was a great show.
Oh my gosh. Well, you just had a live event. It was yesterday for me. You had a live event showing some footage of history. Was that your footage? Was that your rare footage of history, or was that a combination of other people's?
No, that was a combination of all footage that I took from all around the world and put it all together.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So, I mean, obviously, just so everyone knows in the live chat, we are going to be having Paul back and Big Al back for their own separate interviews, because we have so many other questions for them, but we're going to try to keep everything history themed as much as we can. It's just exciting having you guys both here. So
I got a question for both of you from your own experiences, but it's the same sort of question. So Paul, you had experience of Michael meeting the fans outside the hotel, and you'd grown up with him, you knew about him, and then you saw him on stage and that stage presence. What do you see is the difference between like Michael in, a meter away, the person, and everyone talks about his aura, and then comparing that to Michael on stage with that live stage presence, up there? What were the differences?
For me, it was a massive difference. Being close to him at the hotel, and we probably met 5 or 6 times during that week, and feeling the human being face to face was a polar opposite of what you see up on stage. Up on stage, it's a fierce, hard man that's in control and knows what he's doing. And to meet him face to face, he was still very in control of what he was doing, but the aura seemed to take over everyone that was in his presence. And it was a soft, warm, just beautiful feeling of energy that I think everybody there felt. And I remember just talking to the other fans saying, "Do you feel that?" And everyone was like, "Yeah, we feel that." There was something there, and that's not something I felt at the concert. The concert was amazing, but very, very different.
Yeah. And Big Al, same question for you. Obviously, you've got a different perspective. Michael.
Yeah, I was going to say the first time and many times thereafter, it was several years before I actually saw him in concert. But
complete opposite experience.
My very first meeting was pretty unique. I'd gone to the ranch a number of times as a consultant when they were building the amusement park, and but when I made my deal to go there and work full time, it really didn't dawn on me until probably the day that I was there. I'd been there a couple of weeks, and Michael was gone somewhere, but he was going to be on property that day, and it actually kind of hit me. It's like, man, what's it going to be like? And I was never really a starstruck person, So I figured I could handle it okay, but I was like, what's it going to be like? So it was a summer day. It was kind of warm. And in the amusement park, when Michael's home or we have VIP guests, the guys that work in the park, we wear a black vest, a white dress shirt and tie, and black pants, and not exactly the most comfortable uniform for a hot summer. But anyway, so we knew that they were coming, him and the guests were coming towards the amusement park. So I was over there at the snow cone machine making some ice. And behind me there was a little garden, and then there was the railroad tracks for the small train that went in front of the amusement park. And that cement out there was stamped to make it look like kind of like antique brick or stone. And I can hear the tires of the golf cart coming down, and I'm just paying attention to my job, grinding some ice in case somebody wants a snow cone. And I hear Michael go, "Sure is a hot day today, isn't it?" And I turned or looked over my shoulder and said, "Yeah," I went back to doing what I was doing. And all of a sudden a water balloon hit me in the middle of the back. And the golf cart takes off, and everybody's laughing, and Michael, there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people on the golf cart, and Michael yells out, "It wasn't me." So my very first meeting of Mr. Jackson.
The big kid.
Such
You
a
were a
good
little bit
story.
awestruck, or were you just?
Yeah, well, I remember, well, my first thought was that water balloon felt good because it was kind of hot out, nice and cool. And then I think my next thought was, I think this is going to be a fun place to work.
Definitely.
And then obviously you got to know Michael well in a professional capacity. What was it like then, going back to history, in the VIP section, watching this spectacle in front of you and knowing that he'd been doing that since he was 6, 7 years old? What was that like?
Well, I mean, it was a fantastic production from a production standpoint. No matter who was up there on stage, the production was incredible, and the energy with the fans and everything. And of course, I was excited because I was there with some friends of mine, and we were up on the VIP thing. And I mean, the energy was just incredible. It was, I mean, it was, and and everything that they do. When I say they, I mean Michael and his band and the lighting people and the sound people. Everybody works so good to put on such a perfect show that, I mean, it was like watching his videos, but it was live. I mean, everything was so precise and so just done excellent. It was a blast.
Wow. And you mentioned that you were sitting amongst his family, 3T, and Catherine Jackson was there.
Yeah, there was a few family members there. This like I said, this VIP deck, it sits right in front of the soundboard, and the soundboard's elevated, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet above the stadium floor, and the VIP deck's about maybe 3 or 4 feet above the stadium floor. And it was kind of roped off, and of course they had a couple of big, husky bodyguard looking guys. And I didn't spent a lot of time seeing who all was on there, but when they walked in, we were the first ones there. I guess everybody on the VIP deck was staying at the same hotel as Michael, and they all came in a couple of buses because we got there. We were the only ones there, and then like everybody showed up about the same time, and then they came and got them. Right, like when Heal the World started, they came and got them, and they all left, and so now we're sitting on the VIP deck all by ourselves because I said, well, we brought our own car. We're not going with those people. So we stayed there. So now we're on the deck all by ourselves for the finale or whatever. So.
Oh, wow. So, Jeanette, you gave us some insight earlier about what it's like to, get your spot in the crowd, in the audience. Big Al obviously didn't have to worry about that because he was VIP. But Paul, what was it like? I mean, do people just run to get a spot in the crowd? I mean, it probably is chaotic, probably scary too.
Yeah, I didn't have the gold ticket for the front. I was in the silver section, and I was just by myself for the first concert. And so yeah, I just watched everybody run, and I was a little bit grateful that I was in the silver section because I could just take it easy and go to my seat. But it was pretty full on.
Wait, so there was a seat? Was there a seat in your section?
There was a seat in my section, yeah.
But you didn't sit down, did you?
No,
No.
I stood on the seat. Everybody was standing on the seats. Nobody was sitting down.
No.
I can't imagine. And Michael said that himself in one of his, I think one of his audio recordings or interviews. He said, you know, why do we even bother with seats? They don't want to sit down anyway. You know, fans don't want to sit. I wouldn't sit.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Paul, what was your favorite? Do you have a favorite moment, like a favorite performance, favorite song?
I love Stranger in Moscow.
Yeah, yes.
Mhm.
Are you asking about the concert or the experience at the hotel?
Well, the concert, well, both. We wouldn't know both.
The concert Stranger in Moscow was probably the highlight for me. The week at the hotel was just mind-blowing. Every time he'd come down and say hello, he'd wait, because all the media were there as well. But the media would go at, you know, once the sun went down, the media would go, and that's when he'd come out and talk to us.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite stories to tell is when he'd come out during the day and he'd be in his van and he'd go for a drive for a block. And there was, you know, 20 to 50 of us fans that would run after the car. And he'd get to an intersection and stop and open the door. And he'd say, hi, and come on, come get me. And as we would run and catch up to the van, he would take off again. And he'd go around the block to the next intersection and say, and then open the door again and say, come and get me. And we'd run. And when we caught up to the van, he would take off again. It was a game of cat and mouse around Melbourne, and it was so much fun.
Oh my God. I can't believe he did that. Well, so this is all before the age of social media. How did you guys even know what hotel he was staying in? Did you guys just like find out? How?
Well, I was curious. There's only probably 3 major beautiful hotels that he would have stayed in Melbourne at the time. And I just happened to go to one and realize that there was a couple of hundred people there with Michael Jackson signs and balloons and security and police. It was pretty obvious that he was staying there.
Oh, wow. Did you have that experience, Jeanette? I don't think he stayed very long.
I lived far away from London. I was
a
kid, so we went on a coach. But when I was a student at university, in like the early 2000s, in the Invincible era, I had a few, you know, London hotel experiences. Yeah, I had some then, but not at history. I was too little.
Oh,
question for Big Al.
Yes.
Question. What was your favorite performance then at the concert?
Pardon me?
Your favorite performance. Which song did you like the best at the concert?
Oh, well, probably at that time, and I'll have to tell you the story behind that. Probably at that time, Earth Song.
Mm.
And the reason was, I mean, I really kind of like the Thriller and Bad Days just because of the fast beat and all that. And I really don't have a favorite. It kind of depends on, you know, if I'm talking about guitar, I'm talking about slow, I'm talking about fast. But at that time, and the reason behind that was the History album was being developed. It wasn't out yet. And Michael had been in New York, I believe, working on it there for a while. And he came back, he'd been gone from the ranch for quite a few months. And he came back and he went in, he went in the movie theater. We didn't have any other guests there, but he went in the movie theater. So which is right across from the amusement park. So I went in just to let him know that, you know, there's no projectionist here yet, and see if he wanted anything or whatever. And we walked outside and he just started talking. He's telling me what he was doing. And he starts talking about Earth Song. And of course, I didn't know what it was because the CD hadn't been released. The album hadn't been released yet. And he's just going on and on and on about this song. And it was, sometimes when I tell this story, I get a little emotional because I think back on it now and it was a big moment for me. But I could tell by his voice and in his eyes that this was like an incredibly important song to him. I felt kind of stupid because I didn't know what he was talking about, but I knew that it meant a lot to him. So when that finally came out, I got a chance to hear it. I understood what it was all about, and why it meant so much to him.
Oh. See, these are the kind of stories that we just love to hear, these kinds of stories. We wouldn't have known that.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Do you remember what he was saying about it? What was he saying?
Well, he was talking about, he was telling me how he wrote it and what, just when you watch the video, I mean, he was kind of describing, I don't think they'd made the video yet, but I'm sure he had a vision in his mind or whatever. But he was explaining to me what, how we're destroying the planet and the animals and trees. And I mean, he was going kind of rambling on and on about it. But it was, like I said, that, I mean, you could just see it in his eyes and hear it in his voice. It was a very important song for him.
Oh.
Hear that. Well, the same thing for me when I hear Man in the Mirror, because I think that was another song. I kind of got the same idea about Man in the Mirror, different subject, but pretty important subject.
And the fact that he would sit down and just tell you that, it's just amazing.
Well, Earth's Song was the last song he ever sang, and how appropriate, and even when you see the footage of This Is It, when he's saying, having the prayer, and he's saying, this, we only have a little bit of time left, we got to fix the world, or we got to heal the world, and it's important. And so wow.
Yeah.
And he talked to you about that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we have about 3 minutes. Do either of you have any anything that you want to share that you've been wanting to share and didn't get a chance to do yet, or anything you want to tell us?
I think as far as this subject of history, I'm good there. I'm kind of excited about coming back, and of course I have a plethora of stories about what he's really like and what it was like working at Neverland.
Can't wait.
Yes, you'll be back.
Very excited.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
No, same thing. I think in the context of history, I've pretty much shared most of my story, or some of my story, as much as you can fit into 5 minutes. And I'll be back too in a couple of weeks or a month or two to speak to you guys in more depth about Humanitarian, the book.
Yes.
But I can't wait to see Al back as well. I want to hear his stories.
Yeah, we do too.
Actually, I have quite a few friends that keep telling me, you got to write a book, you got to write a book, you got to write a book. And I got to say, Stephanie said something earlier, and I didn't write down the exact quote she said, but it was about how people were lucky enough and blessed enough like me to spend so much time around him and get to know him as a person. And, it's not going to be long, we're not going to be around to tell our stories. So I made my mind up when I can't remember who you were talking to, but you said in a couple of generations, these people that have all these great stories are going to be gone. So
we need stories in writing. Yes.
I have to start writing that book right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, please do. I'm so glad. I say that almost every day to anyone who asks me, why are you such a fan? Why do you do this book club? I just want these stories to be told, and I'm so glad I'm so glad you heard that.
These are the stories that
that people outside, it's important that other people find out what he was really about, and it's a lot. There's a lot more to it than song and dance.
Definitely. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that's the perfect way to end this History 25 celebration. Thank you guys so much for being here with us.
To Paul's documentary, Paul, we want to tell everybody if they haven't seen it already, your History 25 documentary you just put out there.
Yeah,
go see it.
Yes, it's there. It's on our page.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you guys. Thanks, ladies, for all the work you're doing.
We need to thank all of you for all the hard work you do for that Facebook page you do, and getting all the information out there to all the fans about all the different books.
Oh,
thank you.
We love it. So thank you, ladies.
Great. Yeah, this is
that means a lot. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess I can say goodbye, and we can have you guys leave. I guess I'll help you guys exit, and then we can end the call.
All
It
righty.
was nice to talk to you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay, and bye to you, Big Al. Okay. All
Oh,
right.
amazing.
Oh,
I'm gonna write a book. Yay.
I feel like we thoroughly celebrated History 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoroughly.
Yes. I'm gonna
Wow.
are we gonna do that? I couldn't figure out how to download the concert because I'm not as techie as you.
No, we can do it. We can.
Share.
You guys,
Yeah,
you guys want to do
concert later?
Do you guys want to do a watch party with one of the concerts?
I had sent the link of one of the HD quality history.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
It is, but yeah, whether it's just I can just share the link if people want to watch it.
No. I can download it and we can put it in the group, and it's up to you guys. I'm asking them. Do you guys want to watch a history concert together? We've never done like a watch party like that. But then again, it might. I don't know if it'll get blocked because of Sony, not the music. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just the
Yeah.
concert. I think I don't know if it's Bucharest.
Oh, maybe the concerts don't pick up. Yeah, maybe it could work. All right.
Hey, ladies, we have to do the last poll.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Last poll. So the last poll yesterday's was the best look, history's best look.
Okay.
So this was the one we left the comments open for all the girls. And so I'm going to go, so popular, but didn't rank first, second, or third were They Don't Care About Us and Ghosts. People like the look.
Oh my gosh. So I know some people in the chat that absolutely love the Ghost maestro look, the long flowing hair, the billowy white shirt. It is a very magical look. And obviously Jeanette and I are fans of They Don't Care About Us. Someone told me to stand up.
Yeah.
So I'll do this. I'll stay like this for the rest of the chat. But go ahead, Jeanette.
So there we go. I have to give a shout out to Ghosts and They Don't Care About Us. In third position, we really like the white history jacket at the end of the concert, the pearly one.
That was my favorite. I voted for that one. Oh,
the black trousers. We love that. In second position, there's a tie. There's a tie.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so the tie is between MTV Awards with the tie and the shirt and the short hair with Blood on the Dance Floor.
Oh, wow. I love the short curly hair look. I wish she had done that more.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. And number one, well, come on, girls. We'll see if they know in the chat. What do you think?
Yeah.
Which one?
Obviously know what the number one best look is.
Let's see it. So everybody loves the gold suit.
The gold suit and the gold pants. We don't even have to say it.
It was a clear winner. It won by far.
Obviously. Oh my goodness. We could go on and on, but I'm not gonna talk about the gold pants here. I'm not. You guys already saw my fangirling earlier. I won't go there. I won't.
Anyway, don't forget the competition, everyone. So wonderful Bryce Najjar's given his book, signed copy. It's a beautiful book. You can buy it on Amazon if you want to get a copy, but it's the producers of the track this time around, and send the answer to me, personal message, and put your email in there as well. And then what we're going to do, because obviously there's going to be more than one person who's going to send it, so we're going to do a lottery to make it fair, and then we'll announce that tomorrow. How
long do they have to do it? What's the cutoff?
Well, let's be fair and cut it off with the end of this live chat.
Okay, so everyone, so I'm just going to say it again. I pinned the comment into the live chat. PM message Jeanette Simpson if you want to enter to win Bryce's book on history. The question that you need to answer is, name all of the individuals that produced this time around. send your name and your email to Jeanette Simpson on Facebook Messenger. Okay. Okay. And then with that, I think we can end it right there.
Thank you all
you guys for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for all the viewers and chat.
Yeah, you guys were very enthusiastic and lively, and they were rushing us to get started with the fangirl sessions.
They were.
They were rushing us. They were.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Bye, guys. We'll see you back in the book club. Okay.